Hey guys, welcome back. The seasons are changing. You can see it in the trees, you can see it in the people, you can see it in the animals, you can feel it in the air. And fall is a season of preparation for winter, right? The trees are losing their leaves, they are shedding their extra weight because it's going to get really cold. Snow might come, and so the whole nature is preparing itself for hibernation, to go into a deep state of rest and energy conservation, so that spring can bring new life. Okay, now winter is usually a time for more introspection, more reflection, more preparation for what is to come, right? And I can feel that big changes in your life are coming, okay? You might still be moving towards a winter in your life right now where things are going to be cold, tough, dark. But change is coming. A new chapter in your life is about to begin, okay? The seeds will be planted and the seeds will sprout after winter passes. And intuitively, I can also feel that the seasons in my life are changing right now. And change is always a little bit scary in a way, because we like to hold on to the familiar, we like to hold on to what we know. And allowing life to take you, to change with it, okay, the natural flow of life, the natural cycles. I talk a lot about these here on the channel, the cycles of life, the seasons of life. And I very much like that analogy for one's life, because it's never the same when we grow up. It's never the same. Sometimes we have challenges that we need to overcome that make us feel like we're in the dark, in the cold, in winter. And sometimes the sun is shining, stocks are abundant, we have food, we have joy, there's people around us, okay? But without the contrast, without the different seasons, we can't really appreciate any of that, right? And so I know that right now there is big changes coming for you in your life, because maybe you've found yourself in a place where there is not too much change going on, but under the surface, okay, during winter, the nature looks stale, everything looks cold and grim. Not all the time, but most of the time it's the same. It looks the same. The trees look dead. There is no life, okay? It looks the same. But underneath the earth, things are moving, okay? The seeds are preparing themselves to sprout in spring. So there's actually a lot of movement going on in winter, even though on the surface it might not seem like that, okay? And I think that this is exactly what's going on in your life right now too. On the surface it might seem as if nothing's really happening right now, or you're stagnating, or something feels off, okay? But below the surface, things are moving, processes are happening, even on a subconscious level, okay? I really believe that we are much more than just a thinking brain or just thoughts that we can't seem to control. We are much more than that. There is so many layers to existence. And in a slightly more how would I say, ethereal mindset nowadays, where I feel that there is more to life than just simple chemistry and atoms bouncing off of each other. I think there is more to it. And I go through these cycles again, okay? Sometimes I go through a cycle of hard work, dedication, discipline, taking action, this structured approach that is not too much rooted in a spiritual realm, right? And there is this very interesting model. It's called spiritual dynamics. I highly recommend you research it. It's basically a model that describes different stages of human development. And so, for example, there is 7 stages, if I remember correctly. There is stage purple, there is stage red, stage blue, stage orange, stage green, stage yellow, and then there is stage turquoise for the extremely advanced people. And so I find myself oscillating between stage 4, the blue, the orange stage, and stage green. And sometimes you drop back to stage red, sometimes you go up to stage yellow for a little while. And this model is very useful to look at reality from a specific angle. Okay, it's a pair of glasses you put on. The bells are ringing. It's time for church, I think. It's interesting because I'm talking about something spiritual, so it kind of makes sense. Well, anyways, so it's kind of like a pair of glasses that you put on that you can see the world through. Okay. And so stage 4, the orange stage, is one of material thoughts, the material realm. Okay, taking action, creating stuff in the flesh. Okay, material realm, building something that is tangible. And then green is more community oriented. It's sharing of resources. It's social activism. It's more like a community mindset. And then stage yellow is more like awakening. It's more like a spiritual awakening level. And a few months back, I found myself really in stage orange. Very, very, in the flesh, materialistic, creating action, writing, recording the videos. But lately, I feel that as the seasons are changing, I find myself going more into a more like spiritual phase. And I very much love these different phases because they bring always new interesting ideas, new values, new insights, right? And the older I get, the more I start to understand the value of spirituality in one's life. I think that especially for a highly sensitive person, spirituality is really important because the experience of beauty, for example, you can't put it into words, right? It's something more profound. There's something more profound to the experience of beauty that you can't grasp in just mere material, in the material plane. There's more depth to. You can come. It's okay. Yeah, no worries. You can. There's more depth to this dimension. Okay, because beauty, for example, it's so much and so little at the same time. It can be a simple glimpse. It can be a leaf falling from a tree, or it can be a building as magnificent as the St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. Okay, absolutely incredibly beautiful building. The most incredibly beautiful building I've ever seen in my life. Okay, but it's a huge contrast between the day-to-day beauty you can witness in nature, for example. It's totally different. Okay, so it can be incredibly complex, but it can also be incredibly simple and elegant. And so putting it into words is almost like a confinement. It's restrictive. Okay, the map is not the territory, right? So as a highly sensitive person, spirituality is a very important part of your life. And I discovered it consciously only fairly recently, okay? Maybe a few years. I have been really interested in learning more about different spiritual ideas, different religions, okay? I am not specifically attached to one belief system, to one religion, to one God or force in the universe. I like to just look at spirituality as a form of believing in something grander than ourselves. Because what else is there to believe in, okay? I feel like whenever I abandon spirituality because I go too deep into the flesh, into the materialistic paradigm, there is something that is lost in the experience of living. And I think that's no worries. And I think that's something that at least I am missing out on if I don't tap into that realm. And I very much like these more spiritual phases in my life. And so for you, I think that a new phase is coming. And it might be a more spiritual phase. It might be a more materialistic phase. It might be something totally different that you didn't even know existed, okay? You can't really predict that. You can feel that it's shifting. You can feel that it's moving into a new direction. But you can't really know 100% what it is. Now, something that happened in my life a few times is that whenever I had a severely difficult experience, right? A loss of a loved one, a breakup, a tragedy. Sometimes I move in the obsessive materialistic paradigm, and sometimes I go look for answers in the spiritual realm, because we want to explain our suffering. We want to find reasons and meaning for our suffering, because if we don't find these, then it's unbearable, okay? Your suffering is not meaningless, because if you believe it is, then why even bother, right? Why even continue going? That is thoughts that I had when I didn't understand the meaning of the suffering. But now, the older I get, the more I start to understand the meaning of the suffering. And for myself personally, the meaning of the suffering is just allowing me to understand it deeply. Allowing me to understand the suffering deeply so I can relate and I can heal and I can deeply empathize with other suffering, okay, with other people suffering. That is the meaning of my suffering in a way, right? And it's a belief that I have, okay? It can be totally wrong. It can be that my suffering is totally, utterly meaningless, okay? That can be possible. But, yeah, but, that was cute. But why would I believe that, okay? There's no point in believing that, because that only creates even more suffering. That perpetuates the suffering. There's no need to do that. If I believe that the suffering that I go through is providing me with information, is providing me with experience that I can then use and apply to be a light in this world, and I can inspire others to do the same. I can shine my light so bright that your light starts to shine, right? It's like if you have a fire and it's large enough, then it can ignite other fires, right? That is precisely what I want to do. Okay, I want to ignite your fire, because you too have things to share with the world. You do have a body of experiences, knowledge, spiritual, material, physical, emotional. There's so much knowledge that you have, and it's preparing you for sharing it with others. It's preparing you for change. Change is coming. The seasons are changing, and the seasons of your life are also changing. So have faith, believe that you are now being prepared for the next chapter in your life. And it's a privilege to be prepared for the next chapter in your life, because you don't know what it's gonna bring. And it might bring temporarily a winter. Winter is coming, okay? Winter is coming. It's okay. It's absolutely okay, because after that, spring will arrive. The seeds will sprout. The sun will start to shine again. The crops will flourish, and you will be in abundance again in summertime, okay? So don't give up hope. You are destined for great things, and you will be grateful for this chapter and the chapter that will follow, okay? Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.